Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Jay.
And I'll be good.
This is our channel. Today, we are going to be doing the season finale for season 6 of Love After Lockup. So, thank you for joining. Give us a like, comment, subscribe. And we appreciate you guys sitting through the season with us as we recap this whole season. So, we're going to get into this recap review really quickly. Like I said, this was the finale, episode 10. It was a decent episode, I think. Um, not There was some pertinent things that happened, but nothing too crazy, which is fine, and there's a reason for that. So let's just get right off into it, and we're going to start with Brooke and JK. So, as we know, at the end of the last episode, JK went to go see Alex, pulled up on her. You know what I mean? Like to say that she looked crazy. She did not look like her pictures. So he clearly has a type. I'll just say that. So, um, yeah. But so
See.
he don't. I mean,
Listen.
so he pulled up on Alex, and Brooke had his location ever since she put that tracker in his phone and whatnot. So while he's sitting over there with Alex talking about all these little sad stories about why they broke up and this, and that, and the other, Brooke on her way. She moving. She headed there. Gonna see what's good. To try and start some. So yeah, y'all seen that. I'm gonna just leave it in. But yeah, she goes there to go to pull up on JK, but she doesn't get to. He actually leaves and he meets her. They find like a middle ground to kind of meet and conversate that and whatnot, and kind of go over the the basis of the relationship and then being together and whatnot. It's pretty much where it leaves off with them. Them just trying to work it out, figuring out how they're gonna go and make the best life for them after all this. So that was pretty much their story for the season. They didn't have anything really pertinent. And now we're gonna get into yeah, we're talking about Brooke and JK. Yeah. I mean, nothing really happened. He talked to Alex, she pulled up, he explained to her, and that was that for them. Um, and a couple of quick hits. Okay, so quickly, we have Michael. As we've been telling you guys for episodes, he was going to go back to jail.
Right.
At the end of the last episode, we seen he broke up with Michael. Michael didn't take it easily, and he went immediately like, "I'm done with him." Started went messing with this other guy, uh, right away. And I believe within like a week to 2 weeks, he was back in prison.
Well, and also immediately he went and did drugs right after
Yeah,
that. They did say that. Like
he
after he broke up with Michael, he went and had his, well, we think his first hit. At least that's what he's saying. But yeah.
yeah, he went and did that. He stopped going to his halfway house right away. Let's be honest, he institutionalized,
Hmm.
and it is what it is. He wanted to get out, have his moment, go right back to whatever it is. So, I believe they showed that he's in jail till 2029 is when he's up to be released. So, we will not be seeing him next season.
And how old is Michael again?
Michael is 41.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but hey, he's where he chose to be. You
Hmm.
know, he made this decision, and that was that for them. Um, they just showed Michael kind of going through it. I mean, Joey kind of going
Yeah.
through it.
Um,
He'll be in it. You know what I
in
mean?
his best interest. Like, I mean, that probably was the best thing that could happen for him, honestly, is for Michael to leave him alone because I do think, the parents had the same worry that potentially if he kept stressing Joey out,
He was
he was
used.
gonna end up using again
Yeah.
because Joey also had a drug problem at one point.
And I also kind of think that was part of why Michael did what he did. Also, I
Mm-hmm.
think he did that for Joey's benefit. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. It ended where we knew it was going to end.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was them. There was no Bradley and Savannah. They went their actually there was. They just stated that they went their separate ways. They're not dealing with each other. So that
Mm-hmm.
when we seen the last of them, that was the last of them. So that was it for those two. Um, Now we're gonna get to Courtney and Will.
Great.
So we've seen at the end of the last episode, Courtney kind of came out on Will because she talked about being taken care of. She had guys take care of her in jail. Will accused her of doing drugs, whatever, which I still to this day think she was doing something, you know what I'm saying? She told him no, she didn't.
She said she was tired.
She said she was tired. She could have been tired from a lot. So she could have been tired from doing drugs or doing something else. Who knows? But I mean, 30 minutes to get back to the hotel. But we went through that whole thing. But yeah, they pretty much just have their conversation more and more about trust and whatnot. And Will is actually going home, so he's leaving her. His time is up to go back home and whatnot. Um, he pretty much just says to her how he feels. They have a little back and forth, but they do come to a common ground and try and have like a good rest of the time while he's there. Nothing really pertinent happened there neither. Just hey, I'm used to getting guys to do this for me. You know what I mean? And yeah, and that was that. And they just
kept.
Yeah, she
basically.
Yeah, she wants to. She's used to having her sugar daddies or whatever do for her. So that was the whole purpose, and the fact that Will was leaving to go back home. And as we found out, she went back home too because her ass is in jail now also.
Yeah.
Okay. Courtney got locked up. I think actually she was the one who didn't make it. She made it 2 weeks before she got locked back up, and it was for drug and possession of stolen goods. I believe is what it was. So that's 2 down already. But I believe that was the last thing they showed, just that she was locked back up.
Yeah. They're gonna continue on or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that. We didn't get we got a Brian and Brooklyn. Brian gets home, and him and Brooklyn pretty much are just talking essentially about what happened with him being out and his boy wanted to take him to the strip club or whatnot, but there wasn't them still trying to conceive and whatnot. It wasn't a lot that happened on their end either. It just kind of just touched on that.
Just some that information. So, I did see on their live that they're clearly still together because they did a live like maybe last week when they were at like Dave and Buster or something, and Brian was in the background. They're just out on a family outing, so we do know that they're still together. As an update for you guys, and as far as Adrian, my favorite person, the friend that he had during that live, Brooklyn said that she pretty much has not seen or heard anything about Adrian since that day that he came and picked him up. And there could be several reasons for that. I don't know, maybe they weren't as close as maybe they were trying to make it seem. Maybe he checked him off camera. Who knows?
Which I feel like.
And he low key kind of did on camera. Yeah. So, yeah, Adrian is kind of like a non-factor, But yeah, that was it for them.
Yeah, and they look like they're gonna, it's good to see them progressing, and whatnot. So, good up for Brian and Brooklyn, for sure. It seems like their trajectory is going in the correct direction. Kiana, as you see here, this episode, Kiana kicked Demadric out because Demadric went and was hooking up with Joella,
which they didn't show.
Which they didn't show.
Which was a missed opportunity.
They just kind of. Well, who knows what kind of? They probably maybe something happened where they couldn't, or maybe they just got the information backwards. But which, like I said, I kind of knew that was going to happen anyways. And he's kind of in between the two. She's still talking to him. She's doing the same BS that she did as that her story is. So none of us should be surprised, to be perfectly honest. And she's probably going to be back dealing with, put it like this, he's probably hitting both right now.
Yeah, he
on what he's been doing.
Change. I
mean, they're both
are kind of put, they're accepting his behavior. It's like you can't feel bad for, the ladies when they're kind of accepting that behavior from him, he already has shown who he is, so.
And they're showing who they are.
And
so, I don't, and I have a tendency to say this sometimes when they can see it with me, but I don't feel sorry for it necessarily.
Well, we did at first.
I did for a second, but then when I seen the dynamics, I knew that it was going to go a certain way. So it's like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It sucks. Make better decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've been dealing with this since high school. You know what I mean? Like, I'm one of the people who at a certain point, like, all right, man.
It's kind of like, how many kids does he have to have with you before you decide, like,
Yeah,
you know,
but
that should have been kind of like the nail in the coffin. I feel like, at least after the first one, and the second, and you
yeah,
still went back, and their third. I mean, he got six.
I don't know.
Yeah, he
He
got
got
six
some.
kids, three baby moms.
So,
They didn't show the other two baby moms, but yeah, background again,
um,
backstory.
so he's just currently ended with them, talking, and he's living at his dad's, and that's it. No real closure to what's going on. They showed him at Joella's house, and then he's leaving from there, going to meet her. So yeah, the cycle will continue. So
Good news, he's not in jail. At least
yeah, at least he's not in jail so far.
He's doing good in that part. Alex.
So then we get to these two, Alexis and Julius. As we know, Alexis found out she was pregnant on the last episode. So on this episode, she decides to tell Julius after he spends the night out after taking her car and all that whole thing that happened at the Vengeance store out there with the that's what the name of the store is, isn't it?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's it. So we got her telling him, and initially, it seemed like, they were, at first when she told him, she, you know, was crying, and then he went and he consoled her, and they talked about it, and they had about a good, I don't know, 45 seconds of being on the same page about it. And then she tells him, "Hey, you gotta start working." He's like, "Yo, I'm gonna be rapping. Why don't you pick up some more shifts?"
That was crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Which I mean,
that was crazy.
that was a very self-absorbed, wild ass thing to say. But
I was like, how did she not spaz the fuck out at that moment? Because that's like the worst thing he can say. Like, she's pregnant. You go pick up some shifts? I was just like.
But it's kind of the same thing that Courtney was saying with Will. She kind of. Exactly. And but the thing is, she kind of built that with him.
Yeah.
And now, you have to be aware of this. You have to be able to read the room, Julie, is true enough. But, it's double-sided, but more on him. He still shouldn't be fixing him out to say something like that to her. And then tell her, "Hey, I just sleep here and fuck you." That was
crazy.
You know what I'm saying? I will say this much. She was dropping some bars here and there.
Like, what? Like, and that's when she lost it. Like, that's when he said that, she lost it. And I don't blame her just because, but I will say this, like, to piggyback off of what you were saying, he even said the same thing to Ashley. Everything is contingent upon what someone does for him. So, Ashley, I don't want to be with you because you didn't do nothing for me. Alexis, I'm with you because you did something for me. That's why I'm here. You're in, the other bar. You're in my presence.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Julius, he was on one. And we've been trying to be like, kind of, he's young. Like you say, shooting him a little bell here and there. But this thing, he was
super arrogant at them.
Yeah.
But also but it goes back to another thing. He does have I'm not a psychologist, but he seems like he has a lot of arrested development and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure, even though he said that to her, I don't think she was surprised at his responses. She didn't seem like it. Maybe that's why she didn't blow, because pretty sure they have been having, he said things like that to her previously. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I felt like when he said that last thing where he was like, "You get a job," and that kind of stuff, and that set her off. It felt like she had heard that from him before, and it was like, "Okay, this is the last time you got to say that to me." And that's when she kind of, jumped up from, table and whatnot. But yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
This was sad.
And as we see it, that's what I said. It was like, cool. I mean, that's just me personally. But they went their separate ways at the end of this episode.
Yeah. However, we, keep up with, some of the more trending and popular couples on the channel. So, we've been following Julius and Alexis, and some of them follow us too or whatever, but like, they do lives. And what was that, day before yesterday? So, people have been spotting them at Walmart while she was pregnant, together, shopping and whatnot. So we're knowing, as we're watching the show, we're knowing that they're still together. He's filming in her apartment because you can see the background, because if you watch the show, you're familiar with what her apartment looks like. So, Alexis has had the baby. She had the baby right around Mother's Day. So she got to celebrate her first Mother's Day, which congratulations to her with the baby. But 2 days ago, she's on live and she's taping him, kicking him out. He's packing his bag. He's trying to disclose the trash bags with a wad full of money, which is kind of crazy to me too. But yeah, he pulls out, a wad full of money. He was like, I got somewhere to go. I can pay for an apartment. I got money. Da da da. It was, some were saying that they think they're doing that just for clout.
It
That
could be.
because if you get to the end of the clip, you see that Julius packed all these bags up, and then he sits the bag on the floor, and he walks out the door without the bags.
Probably just trying to get out of.
But maybe he was trying to get out of, well, who knows? But people are reading into the clip and whatnot. But yeah, they are, I guess, as of 2 days ago, not living together, as far as we know.
Right. Right.
So yeah,
that's them. So I mean, so that was their story with it.
Yeah.
Like she said, they had their daughter. They showed the daughter, and then so that was pretty much all of the people on the show. They are spinning this off into, as you know, they have Love After Lockup, and then they have Lyfe After Lockup, and some of them will be on Lyfe After Lockup. Some of them won't. Obviously, the Bradley and Savannah won't. Michael and Joey won't. They weren't necessarily overly clear on who would and wouldn't. There was some that they said for sure will be. But I guess we're just gonna have to see when that starts. We will definitely be doing this on there and whatnot. So, but this was a good season of Love After Lockup. It was entertaining. So we gotta see what they have. Lyfe After Lockup. Once we get an update on when that comes out, we'll definitely let you guys know, because we will be reviewing it also. So
yeah.
As for that.
And if this is the first time y'all are maybe popping in on our channel or whatever, check out some of our other recaps. We've recapped every episode of Love After Lockup. We had some conversations and debates on this. Get in on the conversation, comment. And, again, we're very active on all our social media channels and whatnot. So it's been fun doing this show, actually. This is one of the more entertaining ones, I'll say, out of the reality shows that we've done. So
yeah. But we will be seeing you next season for sure. And Lyfe After Lockup and other shows. So like she said, check out our channel. Check us out on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And we'll have some updates there. But signing off for Love After Lockup Season 6. See you.